Hayato Akarizatron is an absolute gigachad who tries to be a normie because he has the default protagonist design but cannot hide his aura and claps every female in his proximity. He lives in a world invaded by savages, the bloodthirsty extraterrestrial beings. To add more to his lore, Hayato suffers from PTSD as he has lost someone close due to the savages. He also boasts the highest compatibility level with the 100, the only technology that could go toe-to-toe with a savage. He is invited to Little Garden, a prestigious military academy aboard a battleship, due to his aura. When he arrives, he sees some girls eagerly waiting for him, but as he hates being a celebrity, he sneaks past them only to be surrounded by an inquisitive crowd at school. Hayato somehow escapes them as well, but before he can breathe a sigh, he sees a guy named Emil rush towards and hug him. The two then meet up with Fritz and Ryusha, who apologize for the debacle at the school earlier before getting doubtful of Hayato's and Emil's closeness. Later, the entrance ceremony takes place to welcome the recruits, hosted by Erika and Liddy before they introduce Claire Harvey, who is considered the queen of Little Garden. Suddenly, the queen gets interrupted by the two girls who were waiting for Hayato earlier, and she expels them for being late. But Emil questions this decision under the guise that Claire is abusing her power. He even tries to deny her status, saying Hayato is more gigachad than her. Seeing how her gigachadette status is being questioned, Claire decides to expel both of them as well before challenging Hayato to a duel with their admission at stakes, which Emil accepts. Hayato, disgruntled due to the duel, is introduced to Charlotte Eka Char, the resident 100 researcher and Emil's pal, and Mei Mai, Char's catgirl assistant, who smells Hayato for his riz. Char presents him with his 100 after introducing Lisa, the supercomputer controlling the garden. He then trains with Emil after learning the lore of the 100, but gets his ass handed to him. Later, he returns to his dorm from visiting his hospitalized sister, Karen, but gets knocked out by a near-naked Emil. He then wakes up in his lap, but immediately jumps away as Emil forgot to say no homo. Hayato is shown to be triggered due to blood and immediately takes care of Emil's wound. The next day, the awaited battle between the Queen, Claire, and the newbie prodigy, Hayato proceeds as both of them activate their 100. While Liddy explains the rule, Claire begins to claim how big her dick is by talking about her technique, full body armament, explaining how she could end the match within seconds. Hayato gets a bit worried, but is provided support by Emil as his handicap. The match proceeds, but Hayato unknowingly gets on top of her and gets some squeezes, but she unforgivingly fires at full throttle after explaining no one ever fondled her fun bags. A gut punch follows the initial blast before she fires again, but he uses his energy barrier. He builds momentum and charges his sword before firing his energy blast. The attack looked like it worked, but Claire blocked it and followed it with her final attack. Hayato cannot block the attack and gets knocked out, but he does not give up. Seeing this, Claire whips out her the Buster Cannon, to wipe him off from existence. Suddenly, he awakens his MC power and proceeds to push Claire against the wall. She blasts at his face, but he morphs into his armament form. Claire, afraid that she is losing, also transforms into her armament form and penetrates Hayato's barrier before delivering the winning blow. Despite the win, Claire admits defeat in the form of a tie. Hayato later wakes up to see her by his side, who questions him about earlier, but Emil steps in. The next morning, Hayato and Emil head out to the Central, where they proceed to eat out each other's ice cream but get unwanted attention. The two then go to a romantic spot where Hayato thinks about sword fighting with Emil but gets interrupted by his sister. During a lunch with Karen, Claire and her company, including this Shota, Chris, appears, trying to recruit Hayato into the selection, an extension of the student council that fights savages. Emil challenges Liddy to a duel to get into the team and proceeds to engage in a melee combat, but an emergency appears at Zwei. Char appears to ask Claire to take them with her as she wants Hayato to experience his first real battle. Hayato and Emil are taken to the headquarters, where they are greeted by Mei, who then introduces Chris as the main analyst before being glazed for his intelligence by Char. Claire asks for intel, but learns that it's a huge Trenta-class savage, and formulates a plan to hold the savage until experts arrive to handle it, while also denying the two to be deployed. Hayato stops her to give his MC speech before Char tells her that they were recommended by Lisa, preceding Claire to have them deployed as well. The council team creates a battle plan that involves less engagement of Hayato and Emil, and then slays a savage as Char explains their strategy. Suddenly, the two jump out of the plane holding hands and proceed to engage in a battle with a savage. Hayato notices that Emil is at an expert level in slaying savages despite his jolliness. The council engages with the Trenta, but Liddy and Claire get knocked out. The duo tries to help Claire out, but gets rejected as she proceeds to use her armament form against it. Hayato steps in to save her as she fails, and the two then proceed to tank an energy blast and share a moment before Emil interrupts. He then delivers a strong attack on the monster, but gets brutally countered. Hayato's PTSD gets triggered by his scar and memories flood his mind, finding Emilia. He proceeds to go berserk when he sees Emilia about to be attacked and destroys everything before being calmed down by Emilia's kiss. He gains back his consciousness and destroys the savage with her help. The team is then escorted back under medical care while a rally of people thank them. Hayato tells Karen about his battles and later learns that Emilia can remain a femboy, which is good news to him. She then explains to him how they are variants, a group of savage attack survivors who have the virus that can fully control the 100 before kissing and almost banging him, but gets interrupted by Claire. As Hayato is the protagonist, he steals her first kiss as well and gets questioned on her intentions by Emilia. Hayato with Emil makes both Fritz and Riisha his bitches while training before being called by Claire. The council asks him to be the bodyguard of an idol named Sakura, who is holding her concert in Zwei. Hayato accepts despite the lurking savages and invites his sister to the concert as well. On the day of the mission, Emil wakes up beside him and wishes him luck even though he wants to go on a date with him. Hayato meets Sakura and then escorts her to the hotel. He takes her to her room where she doubts if he really is Hayato Kusaragi but suddenly asks him to marry her. His riz strikes again as she begins to yap about her plans with him but gets flustered when he asks her for a kiss, unlike other anime protagonists. During her bath time, classic anime moments happen including the protagonist handling the girl's underwear and him seeing the girl naked. They then head out to attend some events and get to the stage's construction site. Hayato is surprised as he sees Sakura whips out her 100. Char and Meimei appear out of nowhere, explaining everything to him and her relationship with Sakura. Later, after a call with Claire, Hayato gets to the dorm bathhouse but is surprised to see Emilia. He then reluctantly joins her and talks about his first mission before being questioned about Sakura. She then shows him the scar that she got during their childhood. Hayato then gets slapped as he accidentally cops a feel after inviting her to Zwei Island. As Sakura is praying that her song reaches everyone including her special person, a group of mercenaries suspiciously talk about the event as they slay a savage. Sakura remembers her mother's words about music and wonders about Hayato, who visits Claire at her summer home. Claire teases him for being an incel and shows him her oppai under his Riz's influence before coming to her senses. Liddy tries to lobotomize him but ends up with her Jayat near his face while he gets knocked out as she hits him in the jewels. The council then reports to him about the stolen variable stone that belonged to Sakura and tells him to keep his eyes wide for the returning thieves. Claire challenges him to a swimming contest but gets blue-balled as Hayato is a monogamous Chad, going out on a date with Emilia. The two go shopping, but have to immediately hide from Fritz and Riisha appearing out of nowhere. The date gets interrupted as Hayato gets informed about Sakura's disappearance by Claire. Despite the agenda, she seems to be more angry about his shopping escapade, asking him to take her shopping next time. The protagonist's Riz does not stop there as Sakura appears out of nowhere and takes him on a date, abandoning Emilia. But being the Chad that he is, he mails Emilia and informs Sakura's assistant about what transpired while still not knowing where she's taking him. Claire, though, is angered by what happened as she learns they're going to the canyons. At the canyons, Sakura takes him to see a view that was her mother's favorite, thanking him for protecting it from the savages. She hums a tune that Hayato recognizes due to his sister before learning that they knew each other from the Gutenberg attacks. She also says that it was he who inspired her to be a singer. Sakura then narrates about the events that happened after meeting the siblings, talking about how she survived the virus experimentation by the mad scientist, Vitali, while losing her friends. After learning that Hayato is also a variant, Sakura is excited by their coincidences and returns with him to write songs. But suddenly they get attacked by a savage. Hayato battles the savage as HQ scrambles to provide him with assistance. He cannot easily fend it off due to some missing equipment, but gets assisted by Sakura in defense. The team-up makes it easier for him to attack and slay the savage. While they celebrate as Sakura claims him as her husband, another savage appears and pins them down. But his crew of Fritz, Riisha, and Emil comes to his aid. The trio proceeds to destroy the monster only to learn that it can regenerate. Hayato, after dodging the daggers from Emil regarding Sakura, joins the battle but gets smashed by an unknown slayer. The unknown slayer is joined by his crew with surprising skills. They kill the savage before knocking out Fritz first. Emil and Hayato then engage in a battle with the slayers. Hayato barely holds down, but Emil almost wins her fight before they escape with the core. After their rescue, Claire tells them about those slayers being the poachers that she told Hayato about. She tries to hide why they are after the savage cores, but Char tells them anyway about their value and power. Claire reprimands Emil and the other two for battling without their battle pass, but considers the two for the selection. Sakura readies for the concert and messages Hayato, who is learning to cheer for her with his sister. The two then meet up at the beach where Sakura doubts herself if anyone actually likes her songs. But Hayato rizzes her up by uplifting her confidence, making her fall deeper in love with him. At the concert, Sakura sings her ass off literally before singing the song she hummed frequently, this time her song reaching everyone. Karen also remembers meeting her during her childhood. During her departure, she thanked Karen for inspiring her to sing and promised her to sing together like they used to. She then kisses Hayato, triggering both Emilia and Claire before running away. The next day, Hayato is under Sakura, but gets interrupted by Claire and Emil, adding Sakura to his harem as he gets pulled from 3 directions by them, suffering from having too much riz. Char's voice is heard as she talks with a blondie in a carrier. But suddenly Hayato is surrounded by bikinis and opais, including the nurse, before Skora drags him to the sea. Emilia is disappointed as she has to keep her disguise, accusing Claire of intending to seduce Hayato with her hooters. Sakura and Emil discuss their closeness with Hayato over a picnic, followed by a game of power volleyball, while he showcases his harem power by diving into Claire's knockers, which are bigger than that ball. But suddenly the blondie from earlier, who is the brother of Claire named Judar, appears and introduces himself to everyone before taking Claire back with him to the academy. Later, Claire calls up everyone to the council where she talks about their new mission with the Un-Army, courtesy of Judar. She also allows Fritz and Riisha into the selection. The team is excited, but Hayato is called by Judar, who takes him to show the real power behind Little Garden, Lisa. Hayato is shocked to find out that Lisa is a real person and the youngest among the Harvey siblings. As Judar explains how Lisa got to her state, Claire appears to confront them. Judar tells her that Hayato can awaken Lisa, but admits that he may be wrong after a failed attempt. He then talks about Vitali being after Lisa before leaving, as his mission unfolds to be a rematch with the Hunters, who are Vitali's creation. On the mission day, the team is briefed about the plan, including the Hunters, before reaching the base. At the base, Emilia meets her old friend Claudia, who wants her back at Gutenberg. Hayato learns that Emilia is actually from the royal family, but gets challenged by Claudia, who believes he has influenced her decision to stay. Hayato easily wins the duel, and then goes to the market with Emil as the Hunters appear. The council discusses the strategy as they assign the tasks and the team members. Claudia also joins the mission, but the president tells her that she intends to keep Emil at Little Garden. After the teams are finalized, they take off for the savage hunt. Claudia tries to impress Emil to no avail by slaying some savages, as do the other members, including new faces. As Claire displays her Jayat, the Hunters are spying on them as well. Night befalls, and after a heated discussion on who gets to be with whom, Emil is on guard duty with Erika. Later, Hayato along with Claudia and Claire is on guard duty. The two share a moment looking at the stars, but Claudia teases them before telling them to check the lake together. But this was her plan to get them together so she could take Emilia back. They kill a savage together, which was triggered by the Hunters, but Claire gets dirty during the scuffle. They reach a lake where Claire cleans herself as she talks about her family history with Hayato. The two share their similar struggle for their siblings before being interrupted by an emergency. An accident follows as they learn that communication has been jammed. So, Hayato suggests she heads to the battlefield while he gets back up. On the battlefield, Fritz and Liddy along with others get knocked out by the Hunters before Claire gets there. She interrogates them about Vitali before claiming that they're no match for her armament despite being variants, but suddenly it rains, and Krovan tells them how luck is on their side. The battle commences, but Claire, who seems to be weakened by the rain, is knocked down by the overwhelming Hunters. As Krovan is about to deliver the finishing blow, a familiar backup arrives and captures them. Despite their capture, the Hunters free themselves, but Emil makes quick work of Nisat and Nakri as Hayato fights Krovan. He gets triggered by Emil's words and lashes out as Hayato somehow sees his past memories, including the meeting with Vitali. Kroven asks Hayato what he's fighting for despite his sheer chadness, but he delivers the average protagonist speech, which angers the hunter. Both of the fighters start battling at full throttle, but get interrupted by a savage that has somehow morphed into a dragon. He asks for a ceasefire to get its core in exchange for the stolen stones with the council and attacks the savage, but fails and almost dies as the savage uses a barrier. The council makes a plan to break its barrier after a failed attempt and pleas to Nacri to open communications. After a brief strategizing with Char, all the Slayers attack to break the barrier, but fail as the savage attacks them beforehand. Claire and Hayato are recommended to kiss, as this can help with power-up because plot. After a brief opposition from everyone besides Claudia, she gets to taste Hayato's aura, proceeding to successfully overwhelm the barrier followed by his finishing blow. But he gets knocked out and starts sinking into the lake before being saved by Emilia, who kisses him. Bro's Riz is insane. Later, Claire finds that Judar has weirdly brought the hunters into the academy as the injured Slayers are under medical care. Hayato is also under the supervision of Emil, who tries to kiss him again but gets interrupted by a visiting Karen and Sakura. Vitali appears as she learns that her hunters are not returning before unveiling her next creation. A crotch shot follows with a group of Slayers getting knocked out by Vitali, who is glad that her test is completed for her bee-like creation. The council briefs Hayato and his harem about the hunters and Vitali's disappearance before informing them about the festa, where Sakura is also performing. The preparation for the festa is in full swing as Claudia and Wendy also join the team. Later, Hayato follows Sakura in the hospital before finding her with Karen and Char, where he learns that Karen is going to perform with Sakura using 100 that she has developed an affinity for. Claire announces the commencement of the festa. Our heroes are kept under guard duty, including Wendy, who seems sus, and Care, who cusses as she wants to spend time with Emilia. The hunters are kept under the supervision of Mei Mai as they discuss the intentions of the Slayers. Hayato and Emil get dragged into the maid cafe and Erika, being a woman of culture, dresses Emil as a maid. The maids then ask Hayato to touch his honkers because they want him to demo his riz and request a kissing scene as well. Judar arrives and goes backstage to wish Sakura and Karen good luck with their performance. Sakura and Karen then perform using their 100 as Vitali gets inside the academy, using a hypnotized Wendy. Karen impresses everyone with her performance with Sakura as Judar looks at them, with a shit-eating grin from his podium. They then perform a duet which seems to be enjoyed by everyone in the HQ including Lisa, but suddenly some guards inform Claire about Wendy's state. Vitali, with her glorious bazookas, begins her plan using her bees, which can self-destruct when in contact with electric relays. After seeing their destruction, the HQ learns that the bees are created from the Roombas and detects that Vitali has invaded the academy. As the evacuation of citizens and the eradication of the bees are in full swing, one of the droids hacks the ship's control room to close off the radar. A kamikaze attack follows which unluckily misses Claudia, but the unknown aircraft has brought transformed savages, called replicants, created by Vitali. As Claire briefs Hayato and Emil about the new savages, another aircraft crashes on the barrier to release the replicants that begin to destroy the barrier. This prompts Claire to leave her station, but after another spouting from Hayato about dreams and ideals, she instead sends him and Emil to deal with them. The three hunters also sense Vitali's attack and begin to debate her intentions, but she gets to their room. She tries to have them help her, but Kroven denies her request as he does not want to hurt the people as well as having a change of heart. But Vitali ignores his plea, torturing them through her device. As the Slayers begin to destroy the replicants, Mei Mai gets to the hunter's room. She initially succeeds in fending off Vitali, but gets shot and is revealed as an automation. The hunters seem to be under Vitali's control as, despite her pleading, Kroven still attacks her. Claire and Char are worried as Vitali closes on Sector 11, where Lisa is resting. Judar assures Claire to leave Vitali to him, while Mei Mai engages in a shootout with her to let the hunters escape. Vitali gets to Lisa but meets Judar as well. She accuses him of being a FCK boy and talks about her revenge against the Academy. She then explains how her replicants can destroy the Slayers using sound waves. Judar pleads with her to get back with him, but she instead unsuccessfully shoots at Lisa, who is awakened by Sakura's song. Judar then explains how he masterminded every event that happened, prompting Vitali to accuse him of using her once again. but he instead shoots her before thanking her as she dies in his arms. On the battlefield, all hopes seem lost as the Slayers cannot counter the sound waves, but Lisa appears in front of Sakura and Karen, asking them to sing and curing Karen. Their duet seems to negate the sound waves as Hayato uses 100% armament to destroy the Trenta replicant while using all his energy as well. But his attack did not seem to work, as the replicant, now inside the academy, began to fire another energy blast but was blocked by the hunters. The hunters try to battle the replicant, but Nakri gets knocked out first. Krovan tries to attack but fails. As Claire reaches the battlefield, the replicant fires another energy beam at Krovan, which angers Nesat, causing her to use her power to replicate the Savage and destroy it. But she is now a liability as her new form can explode at any time. Hayato is visited by Lisa, who requests him to save the academy before kissing him as she wants a taste of that Riz. As Claire whips out her cannon to wipe Nesat, Hayato tells her that he wants to rescue her. He then tries to use Talk no Jutsu at her, but fails the first time, unlike Naruto, before attacking her core and trying once again, this time succeeding in rescuing her. As the problem is solved, Claire is thanked by Lisa for saving Little Garden. The academy celebrates the victory with fireworks. Hayato and Emilia share a kiss and a promise, but get discovered of their gayness. But everyone then finds out about Emilia being a princess, but roots for their relationship beside his harem members. Sakura, who is pissed off, and Claire, who fires her Buster Cannon at them, capping off the anime without any newer season on the horizon. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel to get more fun anime recaps. Till then, take care.